over the extensive littering observed in drains during his tour of some streets in Lagos Island. He emphasized the critical need for all residents to adopt responsible environmental practices to prevent potential disease outbreaks in the state. The governor also urged residents to prioritize environmental cleanliness in their daily lives.
The level of refuse, uncleanliness, untidiness that we have noticed even driving around this morning. And so we want to use this to start the advocacy and the conversation around how do we not only bring back environmental sanitation, but how do we ensure that we can improve the physical cleanliness on our environment. From next week Saturday and the Saturday after, we will be going out to demonstrate and to show to the citizens that we're serious about this. And when the effect of a statewide announcement will start, we will make that announcement in due course.
Behind me is an example of what the streets of Lagos State, Nigeria have become in recent times. Now, the Lagos State Governor and the Commissioner for Environment in Lagos State have hinted at bringing back the monthly environmental sanitation into the state. The environmental sanitation was stopped 8 years ago, and now they are bringing it back.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
The new awareness campaign initiative could be linked to the recent floods in major parts of Lagos caused by incessant rains and the accumulation of waste across the state. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Fidelity Bank is pleased to introduce its public offer and rights issue. For just ₦9.75, you can subscribe for a share in Fidelity Bank, and shareholders can exercise their rights with just ₱9.25 per share in the rights issue. Time is ticking, so join us at Fidelity Bank. To subscribe, visit any registered stockbroker or any of the issuing houses to the offer or any Fidelity Bank branch. Offer lasts till July 29th, 2024. For guidance, please read the prospectus or rights circular or consult your stockbroker, fund or portfolio manager, banker, solicitor, or other professional advisors.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Cross-section of news on the continent, engaging in an analytical report. Resident doctors in Nigeria commenced a 5-day warning strike. Queues have hit the major cities in Nigeria, bringing you authentic stories as they happen. I am Adeshewa Olusoga. This is News Central.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting. And this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, the stories that put Africa first.
Almost a decade ago, 276 schoolgirls were taken away from their school. And many thought it was not any of their business because it happened in a faraway town called Chibok in the northeastern state of Borno. There were many more who were angry that a group of citizens came out to demand that the girls be rescued by the government of the day. Those who came out to make demands on behalf of the schoolgirls that were taken away were looked upon as enemies and vilified both by government and citizens. At a time when the whole nation was supposed to rally together and go after a common enemy that had dared to take our children away. At a time when the empathy of the people was needed to rally around parents whose children had been taken away. It was hoarded and made expensive. Today, many have had to experience the pains of those parents whose children were abducted almost a decade ago. It is now they understand the pain and now have to use their expensive empathy for themselves. We're a nation of people with very expensive empathy, and many have to wait to be affected before they can relate. And it is common to hear things like, I never knew Nigeria would happen to me. Really? When it happened to others, you couldn't relate? You felt immune? You thought you had the patent to prayers and it can never be your portion? Trust Nigeria. Until we begin to give more freely of our empathy and feel the pains of others and make demands on their behalf, even when we are not directly affected, we all keep falling victims one after another. As our collective silence will continue to embolden the perpetrators and give enabling environment for government to abdicate its responsibilities. Nigerians have failed to understand that we are all victims waiting to happen. That yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims would be today's survivors. And the question is, who is next?
Good morning and welcome to another beautiful Thursday episode of Jasiri. Now we're here to bring you the latest stories, insightful conversations, and of course some lively banter to keep things interesting. You know we can't help ourselves. Like literally, ladies, can you help yourselves?
No.
I can't help myself.
Okay, it's gone. Good morning.
But really, do you know what I was just thinking as you were doing that? We should do the 1, 2, 3, 8 challenge.
Oh God, No, I'm not doing.
What?
Because I've been begging this lady.
Because when it gets to that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it just gets
When this thing came out, I was begging this lady.
You didn't beg us well. No, you did not tell me this was the one you wanted to do.
No, we're not doing. Yes, because you refused to do our Shalaba.
And guess what? I went to go and do challenge.
I now saw your video.
So she chose them over.
I chose Nollywood legend.
And she stood under the umbrella of, they roped me into it.
Really?
It wasn't my fault. It's not in my power.
See, jealousy.
Was powers that be, that directed.
Uncle Kepi, Uncle Fred, see the haters on the table.
And then Kepi now asked me, say, hi, Catherine, where have I been? Bitty Bawo, where have I been? How? I've been.
You've been being? Okay, can we move on now?
Yes.
So no challenge.
Chalaba.
Do it now.
You did it then, you didn't do it yet.
You didn't
I don't know how
do
to do
it. You didn't
I said I have 2 left feet. Do you people want me to disgrace myself?
I don't understand. 2 left feet, but how did she make how did the 2 left feet?
No. Do you know what it was? It was the outfit. Did you see how that outfit was looking on me? It's the outfit.
I'm done.
We're so
done.
We're done?
Yeah.
Challenging.
Okay, so let's
has
do
already,
anything.
she's saturated, she needs to be away. I've already agreed.
You know, my spirit is 1 foot.
Actually, you're in holiday mode, Tolu. Better tell them now so that we
it's
don't
okay.
answer questions.
I've already done everything I should do for her so that she can rest. I paid for it.
Okay.
Spiritually.
So my 1 foot is on the other side of the Atlantic right now.
You've been desiring a vacation here. It shows.
Oh my God. So they say it was supposed to be small banter. Can I move on now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's like in the end, it's just me and you that are going to be the lowest common LCM of it.
LCM.
Lowest common multiple factor.
Lowest common denominator.
It's like
denominator.
It's like we will be the. You know when they say do LCM and you draw that line and put the number.
The line in the sand.
It's like me and
the variable and the constant.
It gets why. That's why I'm saying this.
Variable and
reports herself to you people, and then Lolo is because I just love her. I don't want to enter, but it's like me and her are going to be alone.
No, we will contribute for her vacation.
I'll bite you. I will bite.
Yeah.
At least we can send you to Erin Jesha. Erin Jesha.
No, she's from Kogi State now. We'll send her home.
Home, yeah. So you have to No, don't let her go and inaugurate a new well.
Okay. A new well. Ladies, as usual, our daily dose of question before the break. We're going to yank this question. No? Anyway, honestly, these questions really have allowed me to know you better and has allowed all of you to know that I love money. I don't even deny it, you know? But this is the question for today. Would you rather accept $100,000 to start your own business, or would you go with a monthly salary of $5,000? Let me repeat that for you. Would you accept $100,000 to start your own business, or a guaranteed monthly salary of $5,000?
Monthly salary. When I collect that salary 50 times, it's 100,000. And when I'm collecting the salary, I can just say 2,500 goes to my business, 2,500 goes to me.
My God.
So it's balanced.
Blessings, they just ask this question now. This mathematics and calculus, where did it from come?
Blessings, I would have to carry my chair and sit next to you. You know,
true.
These days, I think there's so much pressure for everybody to become an entrepreneur.
To have a side hustle.
But the thing is, there are some people that are career people. They will always do 9 to 5. And I don't think there's anything wrong in it. But now this generation, they're making you feel as if you don't do some kind of business, you're not successful.
Well, that's this thing that they say that if you don't work and pay for your own dream, somebody else will pay you to work for their. And it just makes people feel like you're in some kind of drudgery and slavery because you're working for people. It's not like that.
It's not. And people don't understand that 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship can actually run concurrently. There's a way you build your business to a point where you say, okay, you know what? I'm stepping down from 9 to 5 because I want to focus on my own business. But you start off working with, whether you like it or not, all this, I don't want to work there, I just want to be, you go soft.
There are people that are baby girls for life, and there are people who just came to enjoy Obiageli-ish.
Yeah.
So they say, okay, listen, I don't have time to entrepreneur anything. I just want to live my life in peace and build my castles according to my pocket. So if there are people who would say $5,000 is just perfect for me. Blessings broke it down now in 2 seconds and 5 milliseconds. She broke it down and said, listen, I'll put this money aside and do this. But there are other people who would roll on the floor and lie down and thank you for the rest of their lives for that $100,000 that you invested in their business. Yeah. Because they will probably have a genius business idea, and all they need is that fun.
That's fun.
And likewise,
and
many people want to be entrepreneurs. They have no plan or structure for their business. So that 100,000 will fly out.
So that's why, as you were talking, I was even thinking, it's important, I think, at some point for people to work for someone before you work for yourself. That's just me. Everybody, it doesn't always equal for everybody. But I think there's something in going through the corporate world, having an idea of corporate structures, even if you're a small business owner, before you start your own thing. So we have a restaurant, I tell you guys, and when I listen to my husband's stories dealing with staff, dealing with Lagos state agencies, dealing with federal agencies, food markets in the food prices in the markets right now, having to weigh options, trying to introduce new things, trying to upscale your staff to be able to, adequately introduce the life of an entrepreneur. I don't envy him. Yeah. I just maybe come here. I just have to rub his head. So at the end of the day, I will take personally the $5,000 salary monthly. These are my reasons. One, an entrepreneur does not get any time off. You're working 24 hours, 7 days a week. Entrepreneurs, that is that life. Me, I can do my structured because the law says I only have to work certain days. I get HMO and benefit, and do that. And as Blessing said, you can still take from that $5,000 and start working towards your business. I think that is, for me, that is how it goes, because I don't like hard work.
Yeah,
and I agree. There's no easy route, to be honest.
You make hard work.
100,000 in a new... it has to be.
Who does hard work?
Corporate work.
Make it look really easy, really... In as much as it has its own kings and things.
Oh, my, it does, though.
When you look at Tolu and how she goes about it, you just have to admire her.
But that thing that Blessing says is very true. There are too many small business owners who they get this 100,000. If you come back in 6 weeks, they may not be able to account for 75,000.
It's gone.
Honestly.
So really also, it's what did you say last week? Human, know thyself.
Yes. You need to, well, others also, there are people who can get structured and know that,
I'm pissed that there's no option like marry a rich man that gives you 100,000 per month.
What? How did we...
Producer.
Okay, let's go for a break.
Please, let's also make sure we are equal opportunists. We spread all the opportunities out
Exactly. Because I wouldn't even have thought twice or done all these
If there was
hectic calculations.
If there was which option, let's to be clear.
Last one, marry someone who will give you 100.
Why are you whispering? Speak it out loud.
Yeah. Marry a rich man.
Okay. So then what can happen to you?
Which one is, you see? We say some nice things and we now spoil it.
No, who is the we that's spoiling it?
Marry a rich man.
Meanwhile, there's some clauses to that, isn't it? There's some
Is that aspirational? Marrying a rich man, is that aspirational?
It's additional. It's additional to my aspiration.
Please, when feminists are talking, when they are beginning to talk about women emancipation,
I'm out of the group chat.
Do not please be there.
I want to
go to one of those olden days, be one of the furnitures they buy. Into their houses.
As long as they give me allowance.
So which furniture would you be?
I will sit pretty as a chair.
Lounge chair.
Yeah.
No, but they'll be sitting on you now if you're a chair in the house.
No, she's part of his acquisitions.
Or a TV.
No, if he
that everybody can watch you.
No. There's a movie like that. I think it was like a literal representation of how, women marry into, rich families. And the woman was sitting like she was a furniture. I don't know how they did it, but she was sitting on the table 24/7. The man would go there, how are you? Give her some money and go to work. And she's just like, oh, welcome back. this is such boring life.
There's a lot.
That's for you to say.
I don't want the life. I don't want a useless life.
What makes it useless?
Oh, just sitting down and looking pretty. But let me not lie.
Not every rich man.
In an alternate world, honestly, Tolu, in an alternate world, I am the mistress of a sheikh.
And in an alternate world, I'm a kept woman.
Yeah.
So let's not all lie about it. Let's not lie about it.
I mean, in alternate world, like I'm doing my thing, but I'm getting money allowance. So like, don't pay me.
So there's your money, there's his money, and there's our money.
No, but sure, you know that if they're keeping you like that, there's no room for work.
Why is there no room for work?
Oh, there is no.
No, of course there can be.
Of course.
What kind of work? Is it domestic work?
No, not domestic. I know they may not want you to do
that domestic.
They may not want you to do 9 to 5, but all this thing, you just be seeing so and so foundation. At least just be walking about.
My sister, if
I'll be wearing your Gucci shoes. Sorry, your genuine leather.
We need to go for a break. Go ahead.
Did you read about the richest man in India?
Why is his
son's wedding? Is that the No, the wife.
I saw.
Wait, her wife. The fiance, the young lady who just got married to their son, or his own wife?
His own wife.
Okay,
they say she never wears one shoe twice.
Did you see her phone pouch?
My sister, what $50,000?
What?
Okay.
Phone pouch.
Phone pouch.
The iPhone pouch.
She has a diamond encrusted car.
Yes, in the garage.
So in an alternate life, you would
and you are saying that's what
I am. It's not like I would be. Please watch your words.
I'm so sorry.
I am the mistress of a sheikh.
Okay. Last. I keep saying it. Last.
Please take us on a break.
All our graves are gonna be the same.
No, but
6 feet down.
No, diamond encrusted, please.
But you will
Are you
go
there to enjoy it?
with nothing. As you arrived with nothing. But right now, let's take a quick break. Well, in the alternate life, she's wife of
I can't deal with this.
When we return, we'll be having very insightful conversations. Now we're focusing on Nigerian women's participation in politics. We come back in a few
I think they've left you, Kaka.
I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't know.
That's why I was looking at that.
go where the market demands, as business, trade, and market analysis are the core of our reports.
Nigerians are beginning to speculate that the price of premium motor spirit might increase.
If it's breaking, we got it. If it affects you, your business, and your pocket, we're on it. We connect the dots of business so you understand what it all means.
It is our hope that the efforts of the federal government to tame inflation yield desired results as soon as possible.
I am Perpetua Fasamipita. You're watching News Central.
Every day, maritime operations connect the world, transporting goods and fueling economies. Currently valued at about $25 billion, Africa's maritime industry and its connected sectors could be worth $50 to $80 billion in just a few years. But the industry must face its challenges, and that is where Maritime Radar comes in. At the heart of Maritime Radar is the focus on preserving Africa's waterways and marine economy for generations to come, while also building the continent's prosperity. Industry news, exclusive interviews, and News Central's unique storytelling sets the pace to bring to the fore investment opportunities in marine tourism and the blue economy, aquaculture, marine transportation, security, and much more. Navigate Africa's waterways and ride the waves with us.
I love to make a difference as a journalist because when you speak to the situation or the people affected, that's when you get the full story.
And so we go all out. The protest was ongoing and it was peaceful across the plains for real-time stories. And it was the longest bridge until the 6th of October bridge was completed in Cairo, Egypt. Knee on knee. This is News Central.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
On Digi360, we give you a complete dose of everything.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it. Use it to take action. Digi360, dissecting the issues.
The youth has 60% of its entire population, and it's time for their voices to be heard, loud and clear. Involving the young people in nation building is not merely a question of inclusion, but one that is vital for economic growth, innovation, peace, and security. Fafanua Africa provides the platform for the teeming young and vibrant population of our dear continent to voice their concerns with one goal in mind: profile profound and tangible solutions that will help redefine and reposition the future of Africa. Join us every Friday at 2 p.m. West African Time, 4 p.m. East African Time, and 3 p.m. Central African Time on News Central TV. Fafanua Africa, redefining Africa.
From the hills of the Southeast Africa, reporting coverage on the ground, exclusive reports, and the latest news, all right here. We speak to the people live, get their perspectives on the latest news, the happenings, and the trends. I am Bongani Siziba, live from Johannesburg, South Africa. This is News Central.
I am Sunny Irabo, and I have something special for you. Join me every week for thought-provoking conversations with Africa's most influential leaders and change makers from diverse sectors.
The solution to this is not about begging for food or giving food away. The solution is for Africa to have a bowl in hand, not to beg, but to put seed in those bowls and grow its own food.
Together, we'll explore innovative solutions to the continent's most pressing challenges, from social commentary to politics, the economy, health, family, and lifestyle. We will connect the dots with exclusive interviews with those who are at the forefront of realizing the continent's potential. Expect fresh, interesting, and engaging interviews on the issues that not only matter to us, but that affect Africa and Africans. Sunny Irabo live on News Central.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Now, use the hashtag Jasiri to be a part of the conversations, and so we know that you're watching. Today, we want to explore a significant development in Nigeria's legislative landscape. The move to create 74 additional seats strictly for women in the National and State Assemblies. Now, the bill requesting this recently passed second reading in the House of Representatives. It seeks to amend sections 48 and 49 of the Constitution to provide one special seat reserved exclusively for women in the Senate and House of Representatives for each state of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. Now, joining us to dissect this conversation is the founder and executive director of the Women in Leadership Advancement Network, the one with the beautiful smile. She's a renowned advocate for women's empowerment and leadership in Nigeria. And through her work with Willen, she has tirelessly championed gender equality as well as the inclusion of women in all the facets of leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, no ladies, please make welcome Abosede George Organ. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, ladies, for having me on your table.
Oh, she's been privy to all the behind the scenes gist that we're very good at.
That had nothing to do with legislative.
So let's get the conversation started.
Yes, so before we get deep into the bill and its potential, I think it's important that we notice or realize the status of women, you know, in the political landscape. Now, according to the facts, like Tolu said, facts don't lie.
Yes.
A woman has never been elected governor of a state in Nigeria. Never. Now, on a list of African countries, Nigeria ranks 46th of the number of women in parliament. Also, Nasarawa State has only one female legislator, that's Hajarat Danyaro Ibrahim. Please, can you help us widen this picture? And looking at the current bill that we're talking about, where does this stand? What is the possibility of that?
Right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I mean, one of the things that you missed out talking about state assemblies is that there are 15 states in this country today where when the state's assembly seat, there are no women.
Oh, wait.
15.
So I actually thought the one for Nasarawa was the worst. So there's
That's my
zero.
point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So Nasarawa has one.
Yeah.
One.
Wow.
There are 15 states today
with zero
that when the state assembly seats,
there's no women.
No women.
Wow.
Yes. Out of the 36 states. So, I mean, you know, it's important for us to start to paint the picture from there. so that we can start to understand why we need what some people will call a special measure, right? They're different names, right? So a special measure, it's a temporary measure, temporary special measure for why we should intervene. You know, when you see a problem, you intervene. Yep. And this is an instrument to intervene. So, as I said, we only have, or rather there are 15 states where there are no state assemblies without women. So that's where we start from. As you already know, our House of Representatives, the lower chamber, is sitting with 360 members and only 16 are women. There's a problem with that. 108 senators with only 4 women. There is a problem with that. You know, I'm starting from here because a lot of us have heard it before, but I think sometimes it doesn't click. So we have surface conversations about why are we doing this. You know, if you go back to the people who are opposing the bill, they're saying, you know, based on our constitution says we are equal, we should have equal rights, right? But they're saying our constitution makes provision that there should be no discriminatory law. But excuse me, 109 senators and only 4 women. The question I have for those people is, does that picture not look like it is discriminatory by itself? So for me, that's the foundation, right? And so this bill is now saying we want to introduce a temporary special measure. Now, I think it's really important for us to highlight that for a lot of the countries we celebrate today. Now, you talked about the statistics for Africa, and you said we were 46th. Were you trying to be nice by not saying we were last?
No,
because you know it can sound different.
It's euphemism.
We're at the bottom of the ladder. We're at the bottom of the
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that a lot of any country that is below that, unfortunately, were recently war-torn countries. So why are we in that league? And why is that the lane that we're operating in, right? So that's how dire it is. But let's go to the countries that we celebrate, whether it's Rwanda, whether it's South Africa, whether it's Kenya, whether it's Uganda, Tanzania. They all have gender quotas, legislated gender quotas.
Legislated affirmative action.
Absolutely. And there are different forms, right? So it could be a reserved seat bill, like the one that we're talking about this morning. It could be at the party level, because that was some of the argument that people made. They're like, take this to the party level, right? And then it could also be a specific quota, which is in whether it's appointive office or elective office. Now, the reserved seat bill says, let us add seats. Now, why that is important, and I must say this, it's really funny, but for the people who have been advocating for this for even longer than some of us, they will tell you that because look at it, today, 360 seats, only 16 are occupied by women. So when you say 35% affirmative action, which is one of the mechanisms, the question they ask you is, so whose seats do you want to collect?
Yes. Why does it have to be so?
So that's why the minimum we want to do is, shift. Let's put a chair.
So if you're saying that we're coming to take your seat and you want to hold your seat,
no problem.
Take your seat, hold it. Add another chair to the table.
But let us be clear. In addition to this bill, women can still run for office, for these other seats. But it has evidently been so difficult. And I think that's the part that the denial that I'm confused. And that's why I said, if you say this is a discriminatory law, when you look around you and you see only men, don't you think that is discrimination?
So we'll get to Catherine's question in a moment, but just in terms of laying the foundation for this conversation, this bill would be a major change, as Blessing said earlier, to Nigeria's political landscape. We talked about Nigeria being last on the continent, but Nigeria is 182nd out of, 184th out of 192 countries.
In the IPU.
Yes. So we're just separated by how many? That's by 8 places before we get to the bottom of the ladder when it comes to women's representation in national parliaments globally. So you touched a bit on it a little bit, but I want us to just stretch it out a little bit. What challenges are Nigerian women facing in participating in politics? Because if you legislate a bill that has numbers, but you don't deal with the root causes, those numbers will still struggle. And then somebody will come back and tell you and say, you see? They can't even meet this.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, patriarchy. And some will say that word again, but it is an entrenched system where the male gender is privileged. Summary, right? And I don't think anyone can argue with that, whether you're male or female in the context of Nigeria. The male gender is privileged, right? On certain fronts. And I know some people don't like to say this because, like to hear it, because they're like, in politics, everybody hustles, right? Is equal, you run. But like I said, the evidence doesn't lie. The point is, whether you say it is the same journey, when they get to the end of the race, who's at the table? It tells you that it is difficult for someone to get there. There is a gender that is finding it harder to get there. So there are a variety of issues, but underpinning it is patriarchy. There are religious and social challenges, right? So it's systemic, right? It's systemic, it's structural, right? And then there is the individual side of it. But to be honest, it's really systemic. So think about party politics, right? The question is, and then remember that female candidates are seen as high risk.
Why?
Because they believe they won't win. So if 5 of us represent a party, what do you want to do during an election?
You have no choice.
You want to win. So who do you put as candidate? Somebody who you believe can win. So female candidates are seen as high risk. So the question is, who de-risks the female candidate to say, you know what, this party is going to take a chance? Unfortunately, you would see, based on evidence, that it is the smaller parties. So if you look at 2023 election, I think ADC or something had the most, female candidates. Again, the question is, does the structure allow them to win? So do you see what I'm trying to say? So to your point, these are the fundamental things that they're dealing with. And then, let's be honest, how many women will go and tell their family members, call family meeting, dear family, I have decided I want to run for House of Representatives. They will now clap for you. No. Who's going to take care of your children?
What are you looking for?
What are you looking for? Is it your type that used to go there? So these are the issues that women are contending with, right? And then let's be honest, we also have self-doubt, right? We have not been prepared to go into this terrain. And all of a sudden, you want us to show up there and, act like we know what we're doing, right? So I think there's the part where we need to equip ourselves for leadership. So that's the individual level. So like I said, it's both systemic, structural, and individual.
All right. So I'm sorry. I know it's a continuous conversation. I mean, we can, and because you speak so eloquently, it's easy to be caught up.
To just listen.
It's easy to be caught up. But there's an interesting thought process shared by one of the co-sponsors of the bill, Joshua Ghana. He said, and I quote, "The bill is anchored on the fundamental principle of equitable representation, and it aims to empower women by ensuring their voices are not only heard, but that they actively contribute to shaping the legislative landscape and the overall development of our nation." He added that the issue of gender equality and representation lies at the heart of our constitutional democracy. We'll get into why some are opposing the bill, but this is basically his thought process. What do you make of it?
No, I think that, he really, much better than I or anybody could describe, he has told us what fundamentally is missing. There is a cost of exclusion. We are paying a really high price for exclusion.
So wait, who is the we?
Yes. I'll tell you, the we is all of us in Nigeria. And that's the argument I always make. That if you want Nigeria to be better, so you're on the one side saying, I want Nigeria to be better. And we are telling you that the evidence shows us, again, and I know I spoke about it the last time I was here, when you talk about the human development indicators around healthcare, around education, right? There is evidence that shows that when you have more inclusion, right, in terms of who's at the table, it leads to more inclusive policies. Right? Because God bless the men, but you cannot make a law or a policy for a pregnant woman. Even if you were there with your wife,
you still can experience it.
It's not the same. It's not your lived experience. So the point is that right now we are losing on the contribution of half of the population. right?
We're hobbling. One hand is behind our back.
That's it. Or the analogy of you're flying with one wing. There's only one thing that can happen. You will crash. So to your point, what are we missing? There is a cost of it. It's a high cost we're paying.
Is it until we crash that it becomes clear to us?
As far as I'm concerned, we've crashed, no?
Or we've been in the state of crashing for
exactly.
a while.
So the question is, how deep do we want to be buried?
Do we want to be buried?
We're in desperate need of female leadership. And I mean, for us at Wayland, this is what we sleep and breathe. Because, and you know, the point you made about, okay, so the law changes, what happens? I think it's a really important point. That's why shaping perception is one of our pillars. Because we actually do not, it won't change overnight.
No.
However, there is evidence also that instruments like a legislated quota can force behavior change, and I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah. You know, I'm listening, and I know that when it comes to bills, we're looking at paper and written word. The bill is seeking to amend Section 48 and 49 of the Constitution, and that is to provide one special seat reserved exclusively for women, because words are really important.
Yes.
In the Senate and the House of Representatives for each state of the Federation and the FCT. This will be effective after the term of the current National Assembly. So that means it's the 11th one. And subject to review every 16 years. That's what this bill seeks to amend. And another one is the Section 91 of the Constitution, which is to provide 3 special seats reserved exclusively for women in the House of Assembly of each state of the Federation, which shall be spread across the 3 senatorial districts of each state. I read it because it's important that we know that the letter that we're trying to push across.
Absolutely.
Because out of one of the pivots or the challenges that legislation faces is interpretation. Would you say that on the face of this amendment proposed, is it worded right enough that when you look at it face value, would it pass? Because passing first reading is one thing. Second reading is one thing. And getting through to where we wanted to get to. And they will now pick out, or they would pick on or bring it down based on just what is said. Looking at this on face value, do you think this adequately captures, or we need to, you know, change some wording?
So you know that this bill, as you know, this bill was presented at the 9th Assembly.
Yes.
Right. But it was thrown out.
Along with a number of other
gender bills. So I lay that foundation because obviously, as you know, it was championed by a female House of Rep. No, Honorable Nkiri Onyejocha. Yes, at the time, who was Deputy Chief Whip. And why I say that is there was a lot of collaboration with civil society and all of that. And I have to sort of commend Benjamin Kalu for taking on the baton, right? So to your point, it's a baton collection, right? And there had been a lot of work gone into drafting what you have just read out. Now, to your point around, because it goes to committee, next stage, right? It's committee. And that's where they start to poke and pick and prod, exactly. And to be